Hello and welcome to Codish, an exploration of the lives of modern developers. Join us as we dive into topics like languages and frameworks, data and event-driven architectures, artificial intelligence, and individual and team productivity. Tailored to developers and engineering leaders, this episode is part of our Deeply Technical series.
Hello and welcome to Codish. My name is Julián Duque, Principal Developer Advocate for Heroku and your host for the Codish podcast. And today I have the honor to have with me as guest Shiva Nimmagadda. Shiva is the VP of Excellence through AI and Analytics. Oh, what a mouthful, but amazing. That title sounds impressive. Tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah. So my team actually is responsible to bring engineering excellence with the AI tooling and analytics using and also being in customer zero for all Salesforce products, because actually that's where engineering excellence actually starts, and actually we can bring a lot of excellence for every single engineer in the company.
Beautiful. And how big is your team?
I have around 120 members.
120, okay, that's a considerable size team. Amazing. So, how is your team using AI today? I mean, you're working about like excellence through AI, but how are you living through that?
So when we think about engineering excellence, we always start with the software development lifecycle. Software development lifecycle of an engineer starting to plan the work items. That we call it as inner loop, where you start a work item, you codify it, and then you develop it, you test it, and you merge the code to a code base. That's what we call as inner loop. The development lifecycle expands from inner loop to outer loop to scale loop. Basically, you take the piece of code, deploy it into multiple test environments, test the code, and all the way to deploy to various systems that we have in the product. That's how we look at software development lifecycle. When you really look into bringing efficiency across every single aspect of these three different loops, we actually go and look at opportunities where AI can actually accelerate and innovate in those areas. As part of those cycles, we primarily think about engineers. The majority part of them are coding. They like code, so bring all various industry standard, industry-defined coding tools, which actually fits various different use cases. Some developers write UI, some developers write migration scenarios, some developers write tech debt, some developers write new features, various set of industry standard tools. And also we have in Salesforce, we have internal Salesforce AI coding tools, which actually accelerate and innovate and bring efficiency to every single engineer based on their use cases, based on their personas.
Yeah, and some of those tools that we use internally now, like the public can use it, like for example, Agentforce Vibes, you can like build Salesforce applications, use like what it's called like vibe coding, pretty much like with prompt engineering, with using a coding assistant, just like specifying what you want, and now it's building everything. So how has been that whole change, like before AI and after AI for your team? What have you seen that have changed the most for the team?
So I think when we look at before AI, team has to really write flows. They need to write a lot of Apex classes, all of them and build packages, build applications, building website on Salesforce, all through coding manually. With AI, especially with Agentforce Vibes and Heroku Vibes, it creates automatically, you tell the flow that you need. You tell the workflow, it actually automates and creates all the things behind the scenes for you. And creating a website, deploying a website on Salesforce using Agentforce Vibes is just a breeze. And not just that, we really, if you think about it, we start always from analytics to agents, to now actually we are going into world of actions. With actions, you vibe code that with Heroku and deploy it on Heroku very, very quickly. You see the value, you show the value of the product, the idea that you're thinking about, and you see that live in Heroku, and you can drive all the actions. Is just mind-blowing. And that actually brings huge developer productivity, huge engineering excellence to every engineer who is working on bringing their ideas to life very quickly.
Yeah, this is an ever-evolving ecosystem, and I'm always impressed about all the new model releases, the coding tools, the evals tools, everything that it's out there. And Salesforce and Heroku have been working internally to being able to bring these tools for their engineering and other teams to make their jobs better and with higher quality, but also exposing those primitives and tools so our users can also get the benefits of those. So tell me a little bit about the tools or the engineering agents that your team has built and maintained.
Yeah. So we actually developed an engineering agent on Slack, because we are Slack first. And this engineering agent is a multiplexer talking to various set of Agentforce agents, which is actually solving a particular use case. For example, I have an Agentforce agent which has all the context about my Agentforce technical specs. Mm-hmm. I have an agent which actually knows all the things about all the various set of orgs that we actually internally test. So the agent is grounded on all the context about that particular use case. Now we built engineering agent. Depending on the context of a Slack channel, it can route the question to that particular agent. That's where we empower every engineer. Simply talk to engineering agent on Slack, which actually behind the scenes goes and talks to various Agentforce agents and simply gets answers based on the context that they're providing, based on the question they're answering. Previously, without all this, team has to have talked to another teammate. Mm-hmm. We are actually really envisioning and also living in digital teammate in the Slack here. That's the power of bringing Agentforce, bringing Data Cloud, bringing Slack, and bringing Heroku together, which actually we are living the dream of what digital teammate is of.
Yeah, we were talking recently about all of this AI hype. It sounds great, everything that you can do, and all the companies and everybody is trying to implement AI solutions. This is like some sort